And hello.
Right.
Okay, Andre, so let's have a chat. Biden. Let's just jump in. Let's just jump in.
Yeah, well, I mean, Biden, yeah, he's in a flurry of uh, high tension. So, and by the way, you yourself know this planet, Saturn. I mean, it's clear as could be. When you run into it, and this is the thing that planet like Saturn, the way it is most troubling is when it affects your health, which in his case, it's not exactly health, but it's related to health because it's the sense that, uh, for instance, age is also Saturn, the idea of time. So the older you are, the more your Saturn affects you in this kind of way. Where when if someone says to you, "You're too old," that's Saturn, right? But if you're sick, really sick, that can also be Saturn, right? So uh, that's why he's having such a hard time. So in the astrology, what happens there is that each week this month, as we go toward August, Saturn is pulling away from that really difficult spot, so it'll improve. But that doesn't tell you necessarily, does he stay, does he go? He seems to be digging in his heels, saying, I'm going to continue. And, then the people that are worried, really worried about this, are saying, yeah, but the numbers don't look great at the moment. And then you get the counterpoint to that, people who say, oh, I don't believe in any polls. It's all, forget about that. So, but the atmosphere is tense, right, at the moment. Without question, it's really, really tense.
Yeah. Well, so what exactly? Where is Saturn hitting him?
The Saturn, so he has a midheaven line. Like you think of the high point and the low point, it's a timing point there, right? And it's quite sensitive. And Saturn is right there at the bottom of the chart, landed on it. And this thing developed right as Saturn was stationing, right? And that's the risk. When Saturn is stationing, the energy amps up. And if it catches you the wrong way, it can really put you on the spot, you know? So,
Well, it's funny because people always want, oh, astrology's not real. You can literally look at the time, like you're saying, Saturn station, and bam, it just hit. It's insane to me that people can look at it and go, it's not real, it's not real. Oh my God. Like where in your
oh,
mind
no, no, for sure, for
is it?
sure. I mean, the counterpoint in the way that I had explained it is that this should also be hard on Trump in that the it's not on his same line, but it is in the region of squaring his sun. So my feeling about this is that with Trump, the problems are going to show up sooner or later. And by later, I don't mean next year. I mean like within this cycle, they're going to show up because he's doing what he always does. He cries victory way too soon. And then something else comes up and he's forced to realize, oh, it wasn't what I thought it was. But at the moment, he thinks he's telling people he's going to win in a landslide
Oh, sure.
because that's what it appears to sort of. I mean, who knows if people voted, what would happen. But right now, the alarm with the Democratic Party, the senators, the House people, is they're saying, hey, if you don't leave, we're going to lose everything here because all the
Right,
numbers, are going
right.
the wrong way.
Right,
So
right, right, right. And
yeah.
well, and I guess George Clooney came out yesterday and
Hmm.
was like, Biden has
Yes.
George, shut up. Just come on, Clooney, just be quiet. I don't think Biden's going to go anywhere. I don't. He's pretty easy to read. He's also a stubborn Scorpio, just like me. Um, and
Right.
hey,
Fixed energy. Hang on. Hang
yeah,
tough.
yeah, fixed energy. But when I read him, I've got cards and I'll go into him. But when I read him, he's saying to me, he's like, it will be a disaster. Like he knows it will be a disaster if I drop out right now. It will be an absolute disaster. And Kamala Harris knows it too. She's pretty easy for me to read as well. I don't know what sign she is. What is she? A Capricorn? What is she?
Libra.
Libra.
Yeah.
She
Libra
knows
with
too.
Moon in Aries.
Ooh. Oh, that's interesting.
Like a full moon. A very, very precisely tight full moon
That's really
personality. Yeah.
interesting.
Which you see a lot in in fact, in politics right now, Trump, Biden, and Kamala are all full moon at different levels of precision, but they all have the sun moon on opposite sides. And you see this a lot in people that are high achieving, creative. Now, of course, full moon can show up in the case of people that are crazy too, because you know the whole thing of being a lunatic, that's the moon running amok. But
Yes.
by and large, the full moon is better than the new moon. It's a more, you know, uh, fruition type thing. That's why in the Vedic system in India they'll do celebrations and festivals and things like that. They pick the full moon. They don't do that on the new moon. Even though people say, well, the new moon is when you start things. Yeah, but the new moon doesn't feel as good. It feels, in fact, in Tibet they think the new moon is demonic. Literally, they call it that.
Oh,
So
that's very interesting.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
pretty sure I'm a new moon. I'm pretty sure I'm a new moon baby. Because I'm like I'm like 1 degree in Gemini. I have Gemini moon at like 1 degree.
Gemini moon. Okay, but that would be no. Your sun's in Scorpio though, so that was that. Is that you remember your moon to be in Gemini for sure, or
Oh
you?
yeah, for
Or,
sure. It's seriously at like 1 degree, I think. Maybe two.
right. Well, then that okay. So you are yours is not full, but almost full because the moon was full in Taurus. So
Okay.
then it goes to the next sign. So you have a bright moon without being full, which in a lot of ways is the best of both worlds because if you have the moon nice and bright, it's bright and you're not getting the tremendous intensity of the full moon, which can sometimes cause problems, right? So it's pretty good, yeah, having it like that. But
Interesting.
it's not new though. New would be if it was in Sagittarius or like maybe
Got it.
in Libra. Scorpio itself would be the actual full moon. The other thing about Kamala that's very interesting is that her Libra sun is precisely, first of all, it trines her own Saturn. It makes a trine, which is a really nice aspect. But the Saturn is where the US moon is. So her sun trines the US moon. This means that even though people are always saying, oh, Kamala, people don't like her, this is BS. Kamala just hasn't emerged into the public light in a big way yet, but she has a really good connection to the US energy and would do really well, which is why I've never worried. When I see this situation, to me, it doesn't matter who runs, Biden or her, it's where it gets really complicated is if they said, well, both of them have to leave. That would be really unusual too, because generally that's not what they would do. So I haven't been too worried. To me, Joe or Kamala, both, because the thing is, the final thought for me is that this is where it gets strangely ironic. If Biden is alive on November 4th to run against Trump, he'll beat him because his
Oh
chart
yeah.
is better. His chart is
Yeah.
better. So,
100%. I agree.
even though in the current moment, yeah, George Clooney and all kinds of people are panicking and thinking, this is all going downhill really fast, right?
Yeah, I
So,
agree. I actually disagree about Kamala. I never got the best energy from her. I mean, I was never a fan. She was senator in California, and I wasn't a fan then. I'm not really a fan now.
mm,
Uh, but um, I never get great cards for her. Just in the last week that this has been going on, I haven't gotten great cards for her as far as running.
mm.
She's not getting, it's funny because she's not getting the cards that Biden is getting. Now, what's really interesting, Biden's actually getting good cards. I'm going to show them to you. But if for some reason, somewhere in the middle of that term, Joe Biden was like, you know what, I gotta do that. I gotta step back. She would take over. She would do very well, and people would like her.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes. But if she was running, she doesn't get good cards. If it's given to her as okay, vice president, you're in. Biden's got to go.
right.
People would be like, hell yeah, they would actually be Team Kamala. It's really interesting to see the cards shift though between running and just kind of getting handed the presidency. It's two different sets of cards, and they're vastly different. So it's really interesting for Trump and Biden. So here's Trump. Okay, so check it out. Here's Donald Trump showing up in the cards here about this whole Biden situation. And he's got it. He's like, I got it in the bag. Here I am. I mean, that's the Three of Pentacles. He's like, yep, I nailed it. I'm like you're saying, I'm gonna win. It's gonna be great. This energy sticks around for a while as far as the cards go. It really does stick around for quite a while. The hangman is sitting here. I find it the card to me feels very heavy. So to me, it's kind of like, all right, we're kind of sitting in this energy for a minute of will he, won't he, will he, won't he. Um, I'm going to put cards. Biden is here in his own cards. I'm going to put cards down. He's got nice cards. Honestly, I feel like he moves on from this and everybody's like, oh, never mind. Like it almost feels strange that, oh, it's this thing, it's this thing, it's this thing. And then it's like turns on a dime. Oh, wait, never mind. He's fine. I mean, it feels very odd to me. Um, I don't think he's going to step down, and I don't think he should, quite frankly. And you know, if I know a lot of people are pushing Gavin Newsom right now, which is just odd to me. I
It
find
is, it is, it is. Although when I look at his chart, it's perfect for getting elected. It's too perfect. There's not enough pressure, which makes me think that he's not going to get that chance, to be in the midst. Because usually you see in people's charts, you'll see something really nice and things that are not so nice, because that's what tends to correlate with all the insults and all the crazy energy of being in a campaign, right? But I think that Gavin Newsom is going to be a major asset as we go into the fall,
mm,
because his chart looks really good right now, and that usually means a person can be a great spokesperson. Same with Obama too. Obama has Aquarius rising,
mm,
with Jupiter being in trine to that. Uh, it increases the chances that he becomes really expressive and makes the case really well for the Democratic ticket. But yeah, no, Gavin Newsom, I would find that really, really strange.
yeah, a lot of people are throwing his name around right now, which I just, I no, hardcore no. Biden has good cards. I'm telling you, the guy's got really good cards. His card. I think this just passes over. I think it just sort of fades away. He's got very nice cards here. I mean, you can count on Trump to just continue to bring it up and bring it up and bring it up and bring it up right up until November. I mean, that's he's found the thing that he can push, so he's going to push it. And that's actually here in the cards. He's just going to keep going. No, no, I know 34 felony counts, but forget that because that guy's old. Um, we're going to continue to see it. We're going to continue to see it. But Biden, actually, after they attacked him, everybody was attacking, and I never donate to political candidates anymore. Well, I don't have the money to do it now, but with Trump, I was just donating left and right to any Democrat I could, and I got burnt out on it. I got financially burnt out on it. But I actually gave Biden money. I was like, you know what, Joe, here, have some. I mean, it was like $5, but I was like, here, take it. He raised quite a bit of money after, everybody was
Mhm.
starting to say, go down, get out of here, you're too old. He's got people behind him. These are very nice cards. This is showing, I mean, not Pelosi, obviously not Nancy Pelosi. Don't get me started on her, but uh, I've never been
Well,
a fan of Pelosi's.
she's
Um,
hedging. I think she's hedging
yeah,
because, I mean, you have to remember that she was the House leader, and so probably the House members have been trying to talk to her. And then, I mean, these people have a tough life because they look at numbers, they see trends, and sometimes you gotta hang in there, sometimes you gotta pull the plug. That's what makes it hard.
yeah,
We're looking at it
this
from
is
the
true.
outside.
This
So
is very true. He's got a lot of people behind him. He's got a lot of people wanting to support him, and he's got money. There is money here for Joe Biden. So I don't think he's going to drop out. And I don't think, I do believe I cannot talk today, Andre. It's ridiculous. I do believe he will be reelected. Um, and I mean, the cards are always weird around the election. And I think you said the astrology, I think we talked about it before. You said the astrology was okay and it was really in Biden's favor.
for the election.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the election, yeah. I mean, the incredible irony to all this is that I've already seen this pattern in his chart. There was this energy building from the spring of 23 into the spring of 24. That whole year, the Saturn was roaming around a different point in his chart, his other angle, the ascendant, right? So then all the talk started about this guy's too old, blah, blah, blah. Then Saturn pulls away right around the State of the Union because it's away from that area, right? But then it came back in June. That was the mistake I made, that I was looking at him and thinking, wow, why is he doing that statue thing? He looked really quite diminished. And but that's what Saturn can do. Even a person that is perfectly healthy, you go through a Saturn period and you just feel like you're more hemmed in and you're weirdly restricted. So for him, June and July, and especially mid-June to mid-July, it's a really tricky period, right? But then it starts to pull away. And by the time you get to the election period, the Saturn is in a really good spot. It's making
Yeah.
a trine. It's not doing that anymore. So then it becomes, oh, this guy is so wise and this guy is so experienced. The other keywords for Saturn, right? Which is
Right.
what we were hearing in the sort of in between the State of the Union and when this collapse happened, right? But it was a pretty substantial downturn that's why there's still a lot of talk. People are still saying, we're really worried about this. But now there's a press conference today later on. Now that's an interesting thing because the Saturn is still there, but the lunar today is really good. The moon is in late degrees of Virgo. That supports his Scorpio planets. So today he's got to do it. When he's doing this press conference, he has to take advantage, and lift the clouds, by answering. Because one of the things that is true, I mean, we have to admit these things, otherwise you're hiding under a rock, is that Biden has not been all that good about putting himself out there. He less than as little as possible. He wants it to be more scripted, and this is what then leads people to believe, that he's not totally there. So he's got to have a good showing, when he does the press conference today. That's critical, I think.
Yeah, I think. Well, and it just irritates me because he has to now put all this effort into, hey, by the way, I'm not a walking zombie, instead of the election, instead of, this is now he has to shift away from running against Trump to basically proving to his own party and the American citizens, I'm not too old to do this. It's a massive distraction, and I don't think people are taking that into account.
Yeah, no, it's totally true. Yeah, between the fact that he has to do the job, which is a high tension job, the NATO meeting and all that, and he has to campaign and he has to defend against the attacks. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But then you know what this is like. You've been under Saturn. You know what happens, right? It's not a lot of fun.
It's not a lot of fun. It's not.
No, no. I mean, you can speak to it with total clarity because you got your astrology lesson in real time, basically. Like, in fact, I think even a little too much what it put you through. But then you recover, and then you use that as a sense of knowledge about it and so forth.
Oh yeah.
And your life. I mean, compare. It's important. Everybody's life is important, but if you're the president, you think, oh, this is really important. So it magnifies, the fact that all these people are watching you. And I mean, he's now in this place where if he's digging in his heels, he has to win. Or I mean, that's the other thing that he made that statement. He was asked in the post-debate that question where they said, I think it was Stephanopoulos said to him, well, what happens if you lose? And he said, well, as long as I gave it my best. And people said, wait a minute, hold on, that's not enough. You can't just say, the correct answer should have been, don't even talk like that, I'm going to win.
Yeah,
Like
right. I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to lose. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, again, this is like all this stuff, the fact that a person gets themselves on the wrong side of something and seeing a planet like Saturn around, yeah, that's what the thing is. Now, do you in your cards, what do you get for his health overall? Like, because that's important
Yeah.
too. And that there is the other planetary energy that is circulating right now, really strong for Trump and Biden and the country is Uranus. And Uranus has this quality of taking you into some unexpected place, some kind of shock, And I have to admit, in Biden's chart, pardon me, it's in the health house, right? So that house is also the work house. So then you can sometimes totally dodge the health part and just have work stress. Well, that's pretty obvious. He's already
Right.
in that.
Right.
But what you don't want is to actually get a health event or some such thing that would throw things into a tizzy.
Right. So that's his sixth house.
Sixth house, yeah.
Yeah.
Sixth house opposition to the 12th.
Wow. Okay. So let me ask you this before I get into my cards. could what's going on now with the whole, okay, I screwed up the debate and now people want me to quit, could that also be Uranus messing with him? Because that's work, right?
Yeah, it is Uranus in the sense that the part that Uranus is playing is that Uranus, being in the sixth, represents his support staff. And when the support,
Mm,
like all these people in a way are the support staff, even though they are in a sense equal to him, they are following his lead. So when they turn on you like that, yes, that's also Uranus, exactly.
okay.
But that doesn't change that much. I mean, going into the convention, that Uranus goes to station and it goes directly opposite. I mean, that has to be stated, right? That
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
there. So then I'm thinking, wow, what can that convention be? With
yeah.
Saturn opposite, or I mean Uranus opposite on a full moon, triggering it right as the convention is starting.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
That's gonna, and for me, Biden, when we read on Biden, you guys, because I am a Scorpio and a Scorpio rising, and I have Uranus and Scorpio. Like, so when I hear things like this, I'm like, oh God. So it's me and like, what are me and Joe going to go through? Like, so I've been also dealing with the Uranus opposition for quite some time, and it's a little bit of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean the one for you that makes it easier is the thing is it's late in the sign now. Like Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018, right? So it's now in the last couple of years at most. Like by the spring of 26 goes to Gemini. Joe has all his planets really late. So that
Ooh,
Uranus is opposing, right, from that spot, which, for example, it wasn't doing that in 2020. It wasn't. It was so early in the sign, you
interesting.
know. So this is the problem that right now, this is where Western astrology uses the angles with more precision. And often in Vedic, they'll say, well, Uranus is opposing the whole sign. I know, but there are points where it's opposing it more and
Exactly.
points where it's opposing it less, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I, not an astrologer, although I can follow. I can follow along. I don't know if I will ever my life will ever calm down enough for me to actually study astrology, maybe when I'm older, but not
Yeah,
now.
but you know a lot more now than when I first talked with you. You remember your own patterns, and yeah. So I mean that's what it's all it is. Is anything you have to learn it. You have to
Yeah,
be in touch with it, right?
it's really a lifelong study. Okay, Biden's health cards. Actually, they're stunning. Biden's health cards are stunning. Um, he's health wise. I know they were saying there was an article. Oh, the Parkinson's guy came out and he was tested for Parkinson's and da 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 da. And I don't know, I don't know where that came from. I don't know if it was just BS or if it was legit. I have no idea. But look, beautiful cards. So he has vitality. Listen, how old is he? 80?
81.
Maybe he's
Yeah.
he's got a lot of vitality, this guy, and that is here. He's not only that, but the health card is showing as really lovely. So then, not only that, we got more. Look at this, beautiful. 10 of Cups, card of the happy family. 9 of Cups, the wish card. He's balanced. He's got really nice health here. Knight of Cups is also here. So his health cards are fabulous. Now, there's one little issue. Just one. Um, he does have the 5 of Pentacles coming in. Now, the way this reads to me, so going off the cards and looking at it psychically, the way that it reads to me is this is not a major health issue. It's a minor health issue. It may be a chronic minor health issue. So this is not Parkinson's. It's not, dementia. It's not cancer. It's not something that is so major and disastrous, there's minor health. I mean, the man's 81 years old. He's going to have problems. The prostate's probably, shot to hell at that age. Like, there will be chronic issues here. I don't see anything major for him. I do not. And honestly, I think he might. I know a lot of people are saying he wouldn't finish the term. He won't finish the term. I think it's a pretty good shot he's actually going to finish the term. If he dips out, if he leaves and gives Kamala the hat, so to speak, it would be later in the term, and she wouldn't be there for super duper long, like a year and a half at most.
Well, yeah. I mean, the way I see this from the vantage point of wanting to make sure that Democrat Biden is elected, because of the danger of Trump. So to me, I could care less how he gets in there. You know,
Yeah,
as long as he gets in there, and if he stays, he leaves. Because then, I mean, if you look too far ahead and you start talking about 2028, you're never going to have peace around thinking, well, what could we do? You got to think of the next election now, which is the one coming up, and get in there any way you can.
100%. I agree with you completely. I think the media is downplaying the threat of Trump. They always have. They've always downplayed that guy. And even now, the fact that, something like the New York Times was putting up, 2 articles every day on how old Biden was, but they had yet to say, hey, by the way, the other guy's a felon. It's insane to me. It's insane. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people don't, even people that watch us, which are typically, Democrats, blue people, right? I don't think they really understand the really severe issues we would have if Trump got back into office.
Oh, of course. Yeah, catastrophic because
Yeah.
because he's such an immoral scoundrel. I mean, if you had I mean, almost anyone, even but when you start saying that Dick Cheney is looking better, that's pretty scary because we used to think Cheney's like Darth Vader. All of a sudden, at least with Cheney, he does pull for the U.S. He may not pull for the U.S. the way you like him to pull for the U.S., but that's pretty clear. This SOB, this POS, is friendly with all the dictators, and he would help Putin out. This
Oh,
to me is mind-boggling. That there's a person like this, and that the Republican Party backs, this kind of thing, which goes against their own principles, and is extremely dangerous because you're choosing fascism, literally, or
yeah. Yes.
dictatorships over
Yes.
democracies, right?
Yes.
So,
100%. 100%. I I think Joe. Well, let me put the cards. I'm going to put the cards out. I think Joe is perfectly up to the job. I really do. I think he can do it. He might be a little bit slower than the average bear, so to speak, but I think he's totally up to doing the job. And in fact, I think Joe Biden's second term, and I don't know what you have as far as the astrology goes for him second term wise, but it looks gorgeous to me. Like this is his, I don't care. I'm going to do whatever I want. Let's forgive all the student loan. You know what I mean? Like I see him implementing so many really beautiful, good things. The second term goes way farther than the first term. It just looks stunning to me. It looks stunning to me. Yeah, he's up to the job. He's got really nice cards here. I mean, honestly, Biden has very, very, I don't see any problems with his cards. The man is up to the job. Look at this. It's literally saying, I can do the job. There's the job. And here's him doing a great, like, he's up to it. He can do it. Now, what's really interesting, Trump is also here. And this is a delusional man. He doesn't know what the job is. He doesn't, I mean, we already know this. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know how to do it. God only knows what he would think the job was. So he's showing up in the cards as, just off his rocker. Whereas Biden is going, yep, I got it. He's very steady. This is a steady guy. Let him do his job. Maybe he's not good at debates. Maybe he's not good at talking. We know he's not great at public speaking. We know he's not. It doesn't mean he can't do the job.
no, absolutely. I mean, this whole thing is based so much on the perception, the optics, the way a person looks and the way they communicate. I mean, it is true that it's totally true that having a communicator is really powerful, right? Like if you put Pete Buttigieg's way of communicating in Biden's head right now with all the information they have on Trump and so forth, you could really carry the message in a much better way. That's the part that has really declined in Biden in these recent years. And I think he already wasn't great in 2020, but he is even more, he's more tired now. And this thing where he drifts and so forth, it's a little more, it happens more frequently. So that's why people get alarmed. But as far as what he's done, no, I mean, no, absolutely, including that, things like Kevin McCarthy's tried to lie about it, even though, saying, oh, he's got a mental problem, where before when he was the House Speaker, he was quoted as saying, yeah, and I met with Biden and, like he as much as said he outsmarted me. He just knew more about what was going on. And, he ate my lunch type thing, right? And so, and Biden has done that for NATO. You know, he's totally there as far as that. No question about that. But the thing is, you know, especially modern society is really optic. You know, you see it on camera and
Yeah.
you panic, right?
Yeah.
That's the
So
problem.
I didn't watch the debate, so I guess he didn't look so hot.
No, he didn't. I mean, the debate was quite painful because his energy was really low, you know, really low, and he couldn't track what Trump was saying. When he would speak in a very faint voice.
Mhm.
His he was sounding a bit incoherent at times. He left you know, unbelievable things that Trump said. He didn't challenge immediately.
Mhm.
Like Trump said things like, "Well, Putin had a dream of invading Ukraine." Really?
You
Tell
know,
me about that. Tell me about that. I mean, what the hell? I mean, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the things that Trump also said. Democrats murder babies. I mean, I have to say, well, are you mentally ill? What do you mean Democrats murder babies? You just make up stuff, right? You just show up here and talk nonsense. There were a number of things that he brought up that they were like, you know, almost like how they say the ball is over the plate, hit a home run.
yeah,
But
yeah,
Joe was not up to the task, you know, on that night. But you know, question is, do you judge him just on that? Of course not. But you also have to understand why there's a big firestorm right now. You know, it's
yeah,
not just a single person. It's made people really concerned. You know.
yeah. Well, and I think again, I think mainstream media just took it and ran. Don't get me started.
Yeah, right.
I know.
I know. Well, it is true that mainstream media, they depend on controversy. They depend on, yeah, creating fires, or even if you said, okay, well, maybe they didn't create the fire. Well, they certainly stoke it, right? Once the fire's there, they're in there. I mean, in fact, you see the reporters, a lot of these reporters, following the Congress people around. What do you have to say about Biden? And they're saying no comment, no comment, because they don't want to talk about it. But reporters, that's their job. They want to make noise. You
Yeah,
know, noise and news are
yeah,
so close together. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I find it interesting. A lot of people. I have a maybe a hard question. I don't know, but a lot of people are saying that it is the new version of Hillary's emails, that that his age is irrelevant. They're trying to make it relevant, and that's her emails, the whole thing, that's what derailed her campaign, and they're attempting to derail his campaign with this kind of oh, but his age.
yeah. Well, and the only counterpoint to that, the only thing that, again, it's whether you think it's true or not, and you will get people arguing this point. My sense is that when you're doing polling, the averages of polls tend to be pretty close to what's happening. So if you take a single poll, no, but if you see lots and lots of polls, and it is true that Biden's polls have not been very good. Like back in 2020, if you don't believe the polls now, then you don't believe them then. So back in 2020, he was ahead by quite a bit the
Mhm.
whole time, and then he won. So, you know, now he's not. So then people think, wow, well, that's maybe a little scary, right? That's what's happening. If Biden were still ahead, I don't think you'd be getting all this noise. But then there are the people who will say, don't believe the polls at all. Okay, well, sure. I mean, it's a case to be made. Um, could be a dangerous case, maybe not. That's up to each person, I guess, to decide how much they believe them. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't, um every generation has Pluto, right? It's like Pluto's in whatever, and that sort of defines the generation.
Yeah, it's not the only thing that does, but yeah, it's a good marker.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So a lot of Gen Z is great. But so it's kind of what I'm seeing online is a lot of Gen Zs are going, I don't like what he's done with Gaza and Israel, so I'm just not going to vote for Joe Biden. Where is Pluto for Gen Z? I don't know. I haven't looked it up. I'm
Is Gen Z in the 70s?
Gen Z is 2000, I think it's
Oh, it's later.
2001 to 2000. Yeah, it's like 2001 is when it starts.
Okay, well that's Sagittarius. Pluto's in Sagittarius till 2008. So between 95 and 2008, it's a Sagittarius
Yeah, that's
Pluto.
Gen Z.
So, you know, on that, like that's not necessarily bad the way it aligns with Biden. So, and the thing is, see, this is the point, is that he himself has not been quoted as an example in making the message more forcefully around saying, which maybe he will, maybe he'll still do that, and maybe the Democratic Party will make the obvious message, which is, okay, so you don't like what I'm doing in Gaza. Have you heard what the other guy says about what he will do with Gaza? So,
Yeah,
politics is the art. I keep saying this to people, the art of choosing the least bad option. You're never going to be happy.
yeah,
The person you choose will do some of what you want and not all of what you want. The other guy will screw you. Be really careful. If you choose the other guy, you get nothing, you get set back, right? So, if you're a Gen Z and you say, this is horrible about Gaza, I'm not going to vote. Okay, but you get the other guy said Israel should finish the job.
yeah,
What does that mean, right? No, Biden is trying to play. He knows half the country is for it, half the country is against it. He's caught. He's in the middle.
yeah,
He's doing the best he can. He's trying to call out Netanyahu, and so forth. But people that way can be, really stupid, in my opinion.
yeah,
Total
yeah,
numbskull behavior when you don't realize how clear it is that the Biden and his team, Trump is totally in line with Palestinians. I could care less, and that's
yeah.
disturbing. You know.
Yeah. Well, he called Biden a Palestinian. I don't even know what that meant. Why would you like? What are you even saying, Trump?
Well, he thrives on hyperbole.
Oh,
That's that. He's got a very excessive Jupiter,
mm,
which in some ways has helped him a lot, but it's also the cause of his problems as well because he says crazy things and he does crazy things that are based on confidence that is not well grounded, right?
right,
And then he
that's
gets in
not.
trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for example, back in he literally walked himself into the first impeachment on a Jupiter. Jupiter was on his moon, and he got this feeling. Well, Mueller couldn't touch me. I'll call Zelensky, and I'm going to tell him that he has to help me out. And Zelensky, then the guy heard it. He's being impeached, and so on, right? So that's the way he is, and it's an example of how a planet that is really good can also be a problem for you, right? With if you
Yeah,
misuse it. So yeah.
100%. Have you ever done a synastry chart on Trump and Biden?
Synastry, Trump. Oh yeah, no, that of course. Like so, there to give you an example, the synastry of those two would be that you kind of wonder, well, he beat him in 2020, right? So is there something that would say that? Uh, Biden's Jupiter is is conjunct Trump's Saturn Venus conjunction, right? So that suggests that Biden is stronger in that. To me, it has a quality of dominating the other person. Like the Biden's Jupiter is better, right? But now we're in a new cycle, and it's totally normal to be nervous. I mean, the stakes are huge, right? The stakes in this election aren't just for here; they're for everywhere. Because in Europe, they're wondering, "Oh my Lord, if this guy gets back in, what do we do?" Because he's going to he tries to destabilize the whole thing. He doesn't agree with the idea that Russia should be pushed back.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, and that's a very, very huge problem for Europe. If Ukraine falls, everybody's in trouble. We're all in trouble.
yeah, of course. But basically, for Ukraine to succeed, they need Western action, which apparently now even the European Union is trying to do that, even if the U.S. cuts out. But the U.S. is a big, big military dog. So if the U.S. is on your side, Russia has a huge problem because Russia back in the late 1980s they ran out of money. Like they're not
Yes.
big enough, right? So they had to quit. Now the thing is, speaking of that, there's a big planetary conjunction coming up next year and the year after because it happens in a couple of phases. Saturn Neptune, which if you look back, it always connects with major change in Russia, right? Uh,
Mm,
Going back to the revolution in 1917.
mm.
And the placement of that conjunction is not good for Putin. So that's why I've been saying that I think it's going south for them. And I've even used that to surmise that Democrats are going to win. Because if Democrats were going to lose, then Russia would get more assistance, right? It's kind of a projection you can make. And to me, it fits better that they would run into problems and have to scale back as a
Where does the
result of.
conjunction take place? Gemini?
No, it takes place in Aries, a little bit in the middle of 25, then it backtracks, and there's another point in 26. So you kind of read it as those 2 years are the
Huh?
conjunction. But this is where people get really impatient and they'll say, well, you've been saying Putin and yeah, Putin, sure, but now more money's come in. I mean, at most he's got a stalemate. Then, whether you believe it or not, he's running out of soldiers. He has to constantly bring new people into battle. Later, the mothers are the ones that become really irate. That's what happened when they were in Afghanistan. They spent a number of years there, and when the mother started to realize, oh, my son is not coming back,
Yes.
then they got mad, and Russia was forced to pull back, and there was this big change. Actually, in that war, bankrupted Russia, right, back in the 80s. And this one threatens to do the same thing. And part of the reason is you've got all these countries, US and the European Union, throwing money at it. That doesn't help. I mean, Russia is the size of Italy as far as the I believe California all by itself, I think, has more GDP than Russia. I'm not sure if that's true, but I know
I think
Italy,
it is. I think it is.
yeah. So, it's a country that tries to be, they want to be an empire without having the resources to be an empire, So, fighting a war and you get opposed by a large bloc is problematic. Let's just say that.
Very,
Yeah,
very, yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. I have one question for you. This is like totally off topic, but I'm curious if you've done anything with it. Have you looked at Keir Starmer's chart in the UK?
I have not yet. I will do that, but I'll say that to me is an example of what happened there, right? It's an example along with what happened in France
Mhm.
that to me it shows that the energy of the whole planet Earth, is moving in the direction of more power to more people, not less, because of Pluto going into Aquarius. The way the planets are shifting, Pluto especially, signals that. So I would be really alarmed, right now, if this conservatives had won, and then in France, Marie Le Pen, that's not what happened. So we got to take some wins. Kind of like the guy yesterday, this person that was on my channel, he said, look, elections tell you the story. And the Democratic Party is 13 for 13 since Dobbs, right?
Yeah.
So Biden and Kamala, you can say whatever you like about his age. The key to me is Kamala has to sell, talk about, use whatever word you like, the women's issue, because it's really serious.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'll be totally blunt about this. Women are either have to save the republic. This is all in the, in the hands of women.
True.
I'm not kidding.
True.
They're the greater percentage of the electorate. I cannot understand why a single woman would vote for these people, who are taking away rights. There's no way you should be doing that. That's the key topic. That overcomes everything, if you
Yeah.
play it right.
Yeah.
And so that to me inspires confidence, rather
Yeah,
than, yeah.
I agree 100%. And I think that is also why, I don't know if you followed this trad wife trend. Have you followed this at all? So traditional wife trend. It's a big thing on TikTok. And it's, these women, I don't work. I stay at home with my kids. I serve my husband. I cook, I clean, I do whatever he wants. I have sex with him whenever he wants. Yeah, I mean, and so they really, really push it. You should make your own money. You should only have your husband's money. It's really being pushed on a lot of social media platforms. I find it very interesting that all of a sudden, after years and years and years of like, we want equality, we want this, we want that, you have this pushback of these women going, oh no, you should dress modestly, and that's out the window with me. But you should sit with the kids and have as many kids as you can and serve your husband, and that's it. And it's a huge trend. So I think it's becoming a trend, and I think certain people are pushing it because of exactly what you said, because women really do need to save the republic. I mean, it's a very big
Yeah, well, and I think, I don't know, we'll see. Time always tells, but I think that ship has sailed. Good luck with that. You can say that, you can try to promote it. This is where TikTok, why there's a threat of being banned. That starts to sound like China's behind it, because China owns that platform. And so it's in their interest, even for their own country, because now their country's having problems because they had that one-child policy.
Yes.
And now women don't want to reproduce. And so they have a big problem because they don't have much immigration, right? So that country has their own problems, right? But in the US, you see that and you think, well, that's pretty interesting that it's coming out of TikTok. But will it gain traction? I doubt it. I mean, honestly, this is the thing about when that planet that shook Pluto out of the order, when Eris was discovered, that really drives the power of women upward. And
Mm.
in fact, one of the interesting things that I notice is Kamala has her moon position right around where the Eris is transiting now. So she's the major representative of women's issues, like the idea of women as a warrioress. You know, so it's great that it gets reflected that way. But I would be completely amazed if this kind of like 18th century view of the world. This is what Alito wants, by the way. Alito is totally, pro the white male, you know, uh, basically nationalist, supremacist, running things, and women just keep their place and obey. Well, good luck. In my opinion, good luck with that,
Yeah, yeah,
because
100%.
yeah, it's a loser, and whether you get there sooner or a bit later doesn't matter. That's where the world is going.
Oh, I
So
agree completely.
yeah,
I agree completely. And I think that's why this is a trend, because people are trying to push back on it. No, no, don't go, come back over here. It's better over here. Wear your long prairie dress and have 17 children. Like they're really, I mean, it just sounds awful. I don't know
yeah.
what woman would want that, but
Yeah, no,
um,
yeah, and they're doing this, by the way, the Project 2025 and all that stuff, and the way that Republicans are talking, they're trying to reduce women's rights, and they think that, okay, we'll cut off contraception, we'll cut off abortion, and this will cause women what, to have more babies? Are you crazy? They're going to tell you, and I'm going to have no babies. You're
right,
insane.
right.
In the modern era, don't deal with people like that because people are way too awake. They read the news. We're not in 1900 where you could
No,
tell them a
no,
story.
no,
Right.
exactly,
But I mean,
exactly.
they'll try because in the end they're knuckleheads. But
Well, yeah. Well, that's why
but-
they want no fault divorce, because they think if they get rid of no fault divorce, then women will have to stay married. Like, I mean, it's
right, right,
scary.
exactly. But it's a question of whether they can do it. I say no, but the threat is there and it scares people,
Yeah.
understandably.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think it's a credible threat. I don't think they can do it, but I do think it's a credible threat. I
yeah,
mean,
of
if they
course, of
could do it,
course.
they would. It's not empty.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Totally.
exactly.
Totally. Well, I think that's our time, my friends. So,
All right. Well, it was a pleasure as always, and I'm sure we'll get to talk again sometime in the summer because I'm betting 100% that there will be things to talk about.
I know it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. Well, thank you very, very much. And I will see you soon.
All right.
All right.
Bye, everyone.